The question was about emotions.
Emotion.
I find myself always in emotions, and I don't know how to take out and absorb it. You know what I mean? It's like I just fall into emotions, always like thoughts and emotions.
And you don't come out of it fast.
Yes.
It takes a long time to get out.
Well, until to pay attention that I'm in emotions. How to get out of this fast and not to get there at all.
Okay. What is an emotion, first of all? That we must know. We know what is a thought, right? What is a thought? What is a thought?
Wave.
Huh?
Wave.
No, wave, but when you say, I had a thought, what is it?
Creation of your mind?
When the consciousness touches your desire, there is a thought. In combination of consciousness and your desire, the thought occurs. All right? So, like this, a series of thoughts that the mind goes through. And this we normally see when we see ourselves agitated or we see ourselves in a depressed state. This will be predominant, okay, predominantly working, focusing on that. What is it that triggers it? Whatever can trigger it. Can trigger a past incident. It can trigger from a future anxiety. Somebody wants to sell land, right? And wondering what the price he may get. Or has somebody gone and squatted on it, okay? I had a piece of land in the center of the city. Really in the center of the city. And which was bought ages ago. Not even never seen. Suddenly they said, oh, this plot is still there. So suddenly an element of fear came. Why? Suppose somebody has squatted on it because all these years they've forgotten. All these years means 20, 25 years they've forgotten about it. Anybody can go and sit on it, anybody can make their house, nobody can do anything. There is a fear, and out of that fear, there is a emotion. And the fear is the emotion. Got it? So arising out of future, unknown future, or of a painful past, right? You can get negative emotions. We are talking only about negative emotions. You can get these emotions. So what is a emotion then? What is an emotion? What is an emotion?
A vibration? A vibration?
Thought is a vibration. What is an emotion?
A reaction from that?
It's connected to all the feelings.
What is a feeling? What is a feeling?
It's connected to the senses.
To the sense organs. Okay? It's connected to the sense organs. It's connected to the karmendriyas. It's connected to the jnanendriyas. It's connected to all the tools in the subtle body, right? And it is something which pervades through the whole system. And it goes through the physiological process also. The physiology of a person, it affects that also. So normally we say an emotion is a thought in motion. When a thought is in motion, it generates certain kinds of emotional and instinctive responses. Just like an animal, human beings are also animals. So to preserve something or to get something, it comes to the same story. Right? Either you are wanting to get something, or you are trying to preserve something, or there is fear of being lost. These are the three parameters under which it happens. In this, the emotions that come, when it overwhelms the mind, then there is an aspect of the mind called buddhi, right? Up to now we are talking about manas and the mind, right? And emotions, right? But there is an aspect called buddhi, which is the rational mind. Now, when you get an emotion, you cannot deny that emotion. Right? Any emotion that you get, you cannot say, no, it is not there. I'm feeling angry about something, I'm feeling happy about something, or I'm feeling unhappy about something. That emotion is there and the emotion is real. Right? So, what happens is, if it persists in your system, it clouds your thinking altogether. This is the problem. Not that the emotion is bad, emotion is good, because if you don't have emotion, you can't show the positive sides of caring, sympathy, empathy, all those things. That is also emotion only. So, that is good. We want that return. The problem is with the negative one. You're referring to negative emotions only. Okay? You're not referring to positive emotions. We want that positive emotions because that helps us to communicate with life and to find meaning for ourselves. Okay? So we are looking at the negative thoughts only. The negative thoughts are going to come, depending upon one, what you desired, right? Whether you are acquiring, whether you are holding, or whether there is a loss. This is going to be emotions will come on this account, either on account of past or on account of the future. Future is mostly also a kind of a imagined, because we really don't know the future, but what we do is that we are fearful of the future, and that is why we do so many things for security, because we are fearful about the future. Something we don't know what's going to happen. Let us secure ourselves adequately with these things. We can manage the future, but future is much more complicated than that. Okay, so this fear is an emotion which is common, right, in all the emotions. Fear is a common emotion. You will feel that fear, if you look at your emotion properly, associated with your emotion is fear somewhere in the background. And then hate or anger towards the other person, or hate or anger towards yourself. This is the possibility. Right? So these emotions will come. Emotion that comes with the thought, if it comes, you cannot say no. If you deny it, it's called suppression. If you suppress it too much, even in Western psychology, and which is somewhat similar to what we are saying also, if you suppress it too much, then what happens is when it blasts off, it goes to the subconscious level, the suppressed emotion. And suddenly one day, for no reason whatsoever, there is a trigger and the bomb explodes. Okay? When it will happen, we don't know. So many times we never expected this is going to be the end of the conversation. But there is a triggering, and then suddenly some bomb has exploded. And you say, what a crazy kind of person he is or she is. Okay? So suppression is not good, because suppression is not going to help you get over an issue. What should we do? We cannot deny the emotion. Right? So what should we do? The first thing is that you should be first aware, yes, I am feeling like this. Most people don't do that. They don't want to go into the emotion. They want to remain at the rational level at that time. Anything to distract them. But they will not go to the emotional level. They don't want to face it square. First you have to face that emotion squarely. Yes, this is what I am feeling. I don't like the way this guy is behaving to me. He happens to be my son, or he happens to be my relative, or he happens to be somebody. Could be your own husband, could be your own wife. But this is not something which I can, this is not creating good things. Accept, you have to first accept it. If you don't accept the emotion, then it's as good as suppression. Once you accept once you accept an emotion, then you come to use the rational mind. The rational mind asks buddhi, what we call the buddhi. The rational mind asks you, what are you so emotionally turned up about? And there is a mental process, rational process, how to deal with it comes when you can use the discriminative mind. It will tell you, don't lose your thing, don't use your words against that fellow, don't say anything now, just keep quiet. Instruction number 1. Don't respond to that situation or to that people. Keep quiet. Wait for 2 minutes. So when you are having an emotional issue or when you're dealing with a lot of emotions, it's best not to respond to any trigger that comes from outside immediately. Right? The second thing is, after understanding what is the nature of that emotion, which most of us really don't look into. Why? Because it's painful. And we are also contributing in that process. Most of these negative emotions, we have also contributed in some way to that process. So when we look at it, we have to look at ourselves also that time. Correct? That we don't want to do. Best thing, avoid whole thing. So then what you have to do is, then we use the rational mind to convince the mind that there is no point in losing your temper and feeling down like this, because the next step that you take, you will not be able to think clearly. There are important things to be done. If you want to think clearly, then this emotion will have to be kept in the proper place. So it's called rational emotive therapy. In psychology and psychological sciences and training, it's called RET, rational emotive therapy. That is, you use the rational mind to tell yourself these are the consequences of the negative threat you're holding. This is your contribution, this is the other person's contribution, so this is what we can do. If you can go through that process nicely, well, you will come out of it. The other thing is, coming out of a negative emotion requires spiritual and mental strength. It's not the coming of the emotion, it's how long we hold it is the problem. Some people hold it for 1 minute, right? Some people hold it for 1 day, 5 minutes. Some people hold it for 1 hour. Some people hold it for 5 hours. Some people hold it for 1 day. Some people hold it for 1 week. Some people hold it for the whole month, right? So the longer you are holding a particular negative emotion, the more immature the mind is. Why? Because you are killing yourself deliberately. So the way the spiritual person, what he does is, he can and will get angry if certain things are not going on in a particular way. Don't think that he is going to just smile and say, okay, fine. But after it's done, it will be forgiven in the next 5 minutes. It will be gone. Reena has seen many of this happening. So many times she will come and tell me, you're not angry? I said, why should I be angry? No, I made this mistake. I said, it's okay, make the mistake, so what? So you said this? Yes, I said this. I am not angry, I can't carry that. I have no other word to prove or what. But she wouldn't believe it. I don't think she believed it. I don't think she still believes it. She was here for 8 months, but if something has to be taught, something has to be told, it has to be told correctly, straight. Going round and round and round is not going to help the issue. Now that may be uncomfortable for the person, because the person has done, like for example, you have done this lingam for a long time nicely, and I will say, yeah, okay, but actually what has to be done is that the side, the water, if you put, and you have to clean the side also. Didn't it strike you that also has to be cleaned? suppose. So much I don't know. But when you're looking to cleaning that, you have to think to clean the whole process. So you have to put water on that and you have to clean it. Is it okay? But I'm feeling angry. Now, after I have said it, I've forgotten about it. But the other person will not forget. Next day with anger, he will come and do that. No. Or with a devotion, ठीक है करने का है. Good. So the quicker you can come down from the emotion, that more indication of more mental strength. Okay. That is why there is Sat Sampatti. It's called one of the six requirements for a spiritual student. Right? And the Sat Sampatti refers to the state of the mind control, right? The mind management, the patience level, right? And such factors like that. The caring, the ability to care and give. So there are these factors, 6 factors there. Sama, Dhamma and all that. With that process, if you develop over a period of time, if you get a negative emotion also, it will rise up and within easily you will be able to subdue that with a reason. Okay? You will subdue that with a reason and finish, that's over. Now what you are talking about is that it is arisen possibly because of somebody who is close to you or something which has hurt you badly and that is lingering on. If it is something already close to you, it will linger on so long as the person is close to you. Otherwise you could deal with it. If it is not that, then it is somebody else. Then what else?
Fear of uncertainty.
Yeah, fear of uncertainty also part of that. So fear of uncertainty is also a part of the emotions, right? We are talking about generally about these things. If a person is close to you and has created some issues for you, it will tend to stay very long. If it is a person that has hit you very badly under your butt, butt is it butt, na? B-U-T-T or B-U-T? B-U-T-T, butt. Under your butt. Then you are going to be angry, it will remain for a longer period of time. Now the mature person says there is no point in remaining in that state because it is creating delusion in my mind. If anger is there, if there is negative emotion in the mind will not be able to function. It becomes delusional. So that is why you have to use the discriminative mind, get rid of it. Confront it, do whatever, get rid of it and make the mind clear. Now, as I told you, one emotion which pervades everything is fear. Fear of the future is real, okay? From the time you start earning, from the time you have grown up, you have become a mature person and you say, okay, you are on your feet and you are going to earn now, you are going to make your money, you are going to live your life. The fear of the future is a constant factor which moves you for more artha activities. That means security activities. What do I do to secure myself? What do I do to secure myself? What do I do to secure myself? So whole life we are doing the process of trying to secure something. The reality is the future is unknowable. The future is unknowable. Why is the future unknowable? Because there are many factors lying on that. In that you have an expectation. That expectation in the unknowable makes it future unknown. What do? You can take it as a joy, as an experience of joy, or you can take it as an experience of fear. When I was a sannyasi, I took sannyasi, I didn't know really what my future is going to be about, right? I mean, there was no path except to know that, go and try and achieve this understanding of this Aham Brahmasmi. Since I have said it and I have committed it in front of somebody, I must go and achieve something. So that was what it was. But slowly it strikes you, it struck me that I was not thinking about the future at all after some time. All right? Because every time you think about the future, then you get agitated. But in the stage where I was in, I said thinking about the future is not going to achieve anything. And anyway, Swamiji is there, he will take care of the future. Even now I am saying that. Yesterday we had a discussion, she started crying. So, about the future you do not know. So here, if you do not know, you can take it as an experience. You say there is magic on the way. That's one way of looking at it. Right? The fear that something going to, you cannot keep on dealing with it. It is a trap. If you realize it is a trap, even if the person has 5-bedroom house, is married, has children, that person also suffers the same thing as a person who doesn't have any of this. I think one of the greatest achievements, if you want to call it an achievement, greatest achievement, was when I simply did not think about the future at all. In the process, what happened, I lost my life about 4 times and nothing happened to me. I should have died. I should have died normally. I didn't. So I said, this is a gift now. So then I remember what Swami Sivananda said. If you are going to go, the doctor cannot stop it. If you are not going to go, the doctor cannot stop it. So you have some time available. Make use of the time well. I mean, you should read some of his things. If you read only Shivananda in depth, you will understand what it is. So people like us, we are not bothered. You may lose tomorrow morning, may get up and you will find a dead body there. Good, fine, quite acceptable for me. Right? So how much can you this thing about the future? Now we are putting up a Veda Pathshala, okay? On the side is going to cost about maybe 3-4 crores of rupees. Now I say no, I want an ashram like Jaggi, right? You have the capacity if you want to do. I was offered about 10-12 acres of land when I was in Madurai. And that also just like the land in Lonavala which I rejected. I rejected this land. I said, no, I'm not interested. He said, no, I will get everything done for you. I'll put it. So the future, if you want any idea, you can do that. And I will transfer it to whatever tumor person you want. I said, no, I'm not interested. Because Swamiji said, have you taken sannyas for doing administration, or are you going to take sannyas for your own personal development and helping other people? You make a decision. Paramatmananda still doesn't have his own place. He has a house which is given to be deployed devotees. He lives in a flat. Okay? So, this fear of the future, the way I dealt with it is I simply surrendered to my Guru. I can tell you only from my experience. I simply surrendered to my Guru. I told him, I should have died so many times. I did not die. Obviously, you didn't want me to go. So you take away whenever you want me to take it, you go. But I do have a cue from him because I want to also make a choice in that. So I do have a cue from him. I told him, after you told me what I should do, if I finish it, after I finish it, then you must take me home, because after that I don't want to linger around. So this commitment I have from him, and this is what will happen. So there is no fear of the future unless the mind creates it. So I would say, instead of just saying, do something, I would say offer the future to your Guru, to your God. Tell him you take care. After all, you are taking care of this tree. You are taking care of mangoes, coconuts. You are taking care of this snakes, you're taking care of these rats, you're taking care of everybody. Each of them has a role. You know what to do. Why should I waste my time on that? And if it doesn't happen, so expectation of future is not there. So even in the Veda Patshala that we are taking, I know the cost is high. There was this thing from trustees, the cost is very high, and we don't think it's going to happen. So if we collect some money for the land, but this project you cannot stop. Neither can I stop the trustee. Even if I go tomorrow, you cannot stop. It will go. How it will go, you'll see, but it will go. The time when we have to pay for the land fully, it will be done on time, before time. Till 2 months are over now. March is gone, April is gone, May is gone. 2 months are over. Everybody is keeping quiet. Okay? You'll see what will happen. We got time up to October, November. So suppose it doesn't happen. What happens? Are you going to feel depressed? Is this not a beautiful place? People are coming. They can come, they can learn, go. Okay, this is what I've given me. And it has been so well designed also that this person who is our neighbor, I never knew this guy is going to be ever catchable at all, where he was. I knew him, but we met. He made a commitment, he kept that commitment. Now, it's funny. So always when we started, even my first, if you see the PPT, it's always there of the Veda Patshala. Somebody today asking me, oh, is this a new project you're putting up? I said, no. It's already there in the PPT for a long time. So it is there. I put it as a design, kept it there. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'm not going to say I'm a failure. I'm not going to say, oh, I've been, this was a dream for such a long time, it didn't happen. No. But if it is to happen, it will happen. We know what we want to do. That's all. So, to cut off that fear of the future, though it is, I'm not teaching religion, but I am talking about the role of faith in either your guru or your Ishtadevta. And the faith should be unconditional. If it's a conditional faith, it will not work. It will not work. Only if the faith is unconditional and he will take care, he will take care. That is the easiest way of getting out of the fear of the future. Otherwise, what you will do, you will be taking so many actions, going from here and there, trying to get jobs, trying to do so, accumulate something, and then you suddenly find, oh, my spiritual job has gone to count for a hit, then you say, oh, again I'll go back. No, it's not possible like that. If you want to follow a spiritual path, then you have to say, okay, I don't have anything for the future. Let it be taken up by Shiva. He's listening to what we are saying today. It will happen. Whatever you want will happen. But if you keep also your goals, two things. One is the development of yourself, and two, service to society. Whatever you may plan will happen. You can plan it and throw it in the universe, it will happen. Provided you are giving it for other people. If you are planning it for yourself, so you are making more money, it's a trap. No? It's a trap. Does this answer your question to some degree or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what else? I was not a very faith-driven person actually. I was more a rational-driven person, intellect-driven person. But over the course of my sannyasi life as a monk, I went through certain practices which I was told to go through. After I went through that, I can't throw away faith.
No.
So, the problem is the faith is very conditional. You cannot have conditional faith and hope to get liberty, hope to be free from from the problem of the mind working its own havoc. Or you are facing a problem now, or there is a problem. I say that keep your mind free. Leave it here. Swamiji, I am going from here. Deal with the problem. And forget it. And do whatever is necessary to be done. It doesn't mean you don't act. Understand this. You act. Even in that you will find guidance. What is to be done first, what is to be done next, you get guidance. And you will see that what is to be happen will happen. But then what happens? You are free from that emotion, so the chances of taking correct action are higher. If you take that emotion and you act, the chances of your making wrong choices are higher. That's the difference. Are you with me on this?
I agree. I've lived it my own whole life. You know.
But think about it. Think about it. The sannyasi life, I've taken many serious sadhanas. Serious sadhanas led to almost to life-threatening, not almost to life-threatening positions. Even the first one, when I went for a padayatra with nothing in my hand. See, when you go for a thing like that and you have nothing in your hand, you have to remain dependent on the other person. You got one set of clothes and a bag. You don't have a mobile phone. You have to depend on the other person. Okay? So, when you are dependent, that means you offered your life to God at that time. Anything can happen. So, in that situation, the first time when it happened, I said, oh, thank God that you are there. When it repeated itself, I knew, oh, there is a lesson here. When it repeated itself third time, I said the lesson is learnt. When it happened the fourth time, I laughed at it. There's no difference. Same thing happened. Each was very painful at that time, naturally, but dealt with all by unknown people, people whom I don't know, people who I never gave love to them, except in my prayers. Loka samasta sukhino bhavatu. Except in that prayer, though most of the people who helped me were people who are totally unknown, totally loving, totally caring, and trying to give their best under the situation, so these guys somehow survived. Which included doctors also, which included Ramakrishna Mission also, which included Buddhist monastery also, okay? Which included temples also. So now if somebody says, for me it won't make sense. Okay? It doesn't make sense at all. So you see, understand that what is the core of that fear? That is the first thing that you must ask. What is it that is creating that insecurity? We can deal with it later on. Okay? Let's take some other thing.